Welcome to A Simple Little Pearl. Thank you guys for all the support and everything that you guys have been giving me just throughout the past, several months. I've just started an online boutique, and really it's a ministry more than anything to just encourage. There was a season that I went through, and the Lord really revealed to me after that season of just my worth and who He says that I am. And He really just walked me through finding my worth. And so through that, birthed A Simple Little Pearl. And like I said, I have an online boutique. I have blogs on there also, just to encourage your heart, and then just a lot of things that just can make you feel beautiful and treasured and special, because you are so special to the Lord. And so I've decided that through YouTube, I know I've expressed before, I was never a big social media person until I got into my online boutique and just realized that that was part of the world of doing anything online. And which I love, I have turned out to love, just because it's given me another outlet to minister and to talk and to encourage anybody that's watching. And it's always just for, I know that there's one person out there that just needs to be encouraged. This is a hard world to live in and day out, and things hit us unexpectedly. Even if it's expected, it's still really hard sometimes to walk through. And I just want to share a little bit of hope through my story. There was a season that I went through, and I ended up getting angry at the Lord when He asked me to do a little something. And I just was honest with Him, and I was like, this isn't fair. I feel like, I'm just a little toy in your hand, and you're just leading me around, playing with me. And He really quickly responded with, you're not a toy, you're hope. And everybody needs hope. And the only way that they'll get hope is through a story. And you are their story of hope. And, in that moment, it made everything worth it. That if all of the heartache and the hurt and the pain that I have gone through, will go through, could help you in any way to just hang on, to not give up, to press through whatever it is you're going through, then you're worth it to me. And so I have another little part of my story that I want to share with you. I know that over the past couple of months, I've shared with you about my children, and the first story about my sweet boy, my oldest boy, Addison, was just proof to me that the Lord hears me when I pray. And then the second story about my second child, Mr. Benjamin Brown, who never made it to this world, but he is absolutely thriving in heaven, was God's reminder to me that He sees me. And then my third little boy that I want to tell you about today is sweet Asher. And that was really proof to me that God is with me. So Addison was born in 2013, and under, perfect, beautiful circumstances. A couple years later, I received a positive pregnancy test that Benjamin was on his way. And like I said, there's a story about how his short little life here with me was ended, and so he did join heaven. And I will see him one day. I absolutely know that I will. And then my third story is about Asher, who was born in not ideal circumstances, but his story is so beautiful and so encouraging, and it's just allowed me to see that while I may not understand, God is working all things for my good. So in 2017, I was when Asher was born, and that was the hardest year of my entire life. a lot happened, and it's interesting because at the beginning of that year, Asher was born in July. And in January, I received, I don't know if you do this, but I received a word that, when you pray, Lord, just give me a little message for this year at the beginning of it. His word to me was change is coming. And so, I'm sorry, it wasn't change is coming. Well, he did speak that to me, but the one word that he gave to me was life. And then change is coming. So I obviously took that to mean, okay, I know Asher's due date's July, so I'm like, well, that's the life that he's talking about, and that's the change that's coming. Little did I know I was completely wrong. So I'm tooting along, my pregnancy, and before this, I had been married for, at this point, I had gotten married in 2002, so this was 2017, so 15 years, and it was a very hard marriage. And so, there had been a lot of struggle, which, marriages go through. There's, it's not what you think it's going to be when you're 6 years old and dreaming of, the perfect marriage and blah, blah, blah. So you get into it, you realize it's not all it's cracked up to be. The reality, the idea of marriage is beautiful, while the reality is usually something different. And it ended up to be an extremely hard marriage that I had committed to, wanted to figure out, wanted to work through, wanted to get help through. And it wasn't necessarily, that it wasn't reciprocated. And so it ended up being what I feared was going to end. And again, fighting, doing everything that I could to keep that from happening. There was even a book which I recommend for every wife to get. It's called The Power of a Praying Wife by Stormy Ormy, I think her last name is. But anyway, beautiful book, and I picked that book up just because of the struggle that I had been going through. I picked it up in June, and I even wrote in the front of it, when I started reading it, and then it's a 30-day book, and I ended up finishing it at the end of June. So then Asher, his due date was getting close, and so, I'm preparing for that. And through all of that, me and my husband at the time, like I said, it was very rocky going through it. And I knew things were happening. I just didn't know what they were. That's the reason for okay, I'm going to get this book. I'm just entering in. We're just going to do what I can do to help where I can help. And so Asher came into the world on June 21st of 2017. And it was beautiful. I ended up, having these little bitty contractions. And before he was born, I wanted to let you know that each one of my kids have a beautiful story of how I got their name. And when we were trying to think of a name, I was reading the Bible one night, and the word ashes just stuck out to me. And I just stopped on that word, and I was like, ashes. And then I just kept, thinking ashes. And then I was like, Asher. That's a really cool name. And it just wouldn't let me go. And so I mentioned it to my husband at the time, and he was like, I don't know, because we knew somebody that had just, named their baby. And so it was that kind of a thing. Well, that's their name. We can't take the name. But I was like, I really feel like his name needs to be Asher. And so we, obviously looked up the meaning, and it was happy, blessed one. And so we just ended up settling on it because I just really felt strongly about it. And so anyway, he was born, and he was happy, beautiful, joyful, sweet, perfect little boy. I ended up having, some contractions while we're going through a little toy box for my older son, Addison, and my mom was there, and I was like, oh, I think I'm, having little period pains. And then all of a sudden, she's like, let's time it. And so it ended up being, contractions. So she was like, well, let me drive you. And I was like, no, let me drive because I want to just concentrate. So my hospital that I was going to deliver at was 45 minutes away. And so she's in the passenger seat. I have Addison in the back seat. I'm driving to the hospital in labor. And I get there, I'm dilated to a 5. And it's really beautiful because there was, at the very first part of it, my mom took Addison and they were waiting. And I just was in that room by myself. And I just remember quoting, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Because I'm the epidural girl. I'm like, when I enter those doors, meet me with the needle. I don't want to feel pain. And so I'm, having to build up to the epidural and wait for it. And I'm quoting, man, I'm like, I can do it. And that scripture was just so beautiful. It was just me and the Lord in those moments, and he was getting me through. And the pregnancy went beautifully, and he was born, and it was amazing. And then shortly after, my older brother, was going through a really tough time with his wife. And so we were all, I have a newborn, a month-old baby, and we all, go and as a family surround him and be with him and support him. And so, she ended up, through complications with her health, just ended up passing away. And so we're going through that just shortly after this. And, I'm just like, still remembering all the words that the Lord had given me at the beginning of the year. Again, when it comes to my marriage, there was just, girls know I don't know if we're born with an instinct or if it's just like a duh kind of moments, but it's like something's happening here. There's stirring, there's stuff, you feel it, and you can't shake it. And there are points when you feel like you are going crazy. And I just want to encourage, if you're having those little things, man, hang on to it. Hang on to it. Don't just ignore it because, there's something. And, a lot of times you do have to go out. And it got to the point where I was like, listen, I am certain that there's something. And I have such a strong feeling. I even called my pastor's wife at the time and I said, I'm losing it. If there's nothing going on, then I need help. Like, I need to be committed somewhere because I'm not okay, because it was so strong. And a couple of days later, after that conversation, after maybe a couple of days after that conversation, there was revelation of things that were happening in my marriage. And so there came a point at that time where I was like relieved because I'm like, I'm not crazy. I knew it. Like, I could feel it. I could sense it. Because there is a miracle that happens when you marry somebody. And the Lord talks about it in his word, where 2 people become one. And when you become one with some person, they take on you and you take on them. And there is no getting out of stuff. You know what I mean? Like, you and there was immediate for me when I was just like, marriage, I do. And there was just this of stuff that I, again, didn't know. I just knew. I didn't know, but I knew. And so, it just carried through the marriage. And so when it all just came out, it was, like I said, there was such a relief. And then there was such just devastation, because I'm like, 2 months ago, not even 2 months ago, just had a child. And he is like, how am I going to be able to celebrate his birth ever, because it was right at the end. And then I got in a conversation with the Lord, and I'm like, Lord, you told me this year was going to be life. You told me, like, here's life, and my marriage has ended. I mean, it was enough for me to know it's ended. And so I'm like, you said life. I have this beautiful life here in my hands, and here is my marriage is dead. It's death. It is not life, it is death. How can you let this beautiful baby be born into death? And immediately, the Lord showed me how he gave me beauty in my ashes. Never, ever would I have put that together in my own brain, that night that I was reading the Bible, and ashes, and then Asher came. And through that, I was just like, oh my gosh, you knew what I was heading towards, and you gave me beauty. You gave me life in my ashes. And how amazing of our Lord that he works all things together for our good. He does it. He knew in January what I would be facing, what I would receive in July and go through in September. And he knew what I would need in order to get me through. And that is a beautiful, rambunctious, sweet, happy, blessed little boy. And he's been such a blessing to me and to Addison. And he just, when Addison was born, he was the boy that just, he never got into anything. He was very I'm like, this is easy. Like, motherhood's simple. Like, what is everybody complaining about? And Asher was the boy that was playing in the trash, eating food out of the trash, going in, like, there's just so much that this sweet little child, he is fearless. And if he has his mind set, he's gonna do it unless mama's there to say no, which I usually am. But I just wanted to encourage you with that, because God has shown me through Asher's story that he's with me, that he's got me, he's working, he's not left me. He knows everything, and he will be with me in the storm, and he will bring what I need just when I need it. So be encouraged that if you are walking through a trial, if there is something, if there's devastation, if there's tragedy, whatever it is that you're facing, and you can't wrap your mind around how this could ever be good, wait on the Lord, because the word says if you wait on the Lord, he will renew your strength through it. When you're at your weakest, which is where I was, he came in and was my strength. He was at his strongest. He's the one that walked me through those upcoming months into, I didn't give up on my marriage right away. We did try to work it through. It didn't end up happening. And we ended it, and we're both better because of it. And so you've just got to understand that God's not left you. He has never left you, and he will never leave you. And even though you don't understand, he knows. And so there's just, if you just, like the word says, if you trust in the Lord with all your heart, and never lean on your own understanding. In all your ways, acknowledge him, and he will direct your path. He will give you that peace that passes understanding. Trust him. Trust him. He's with you. He's guiding you. He's protecting you. And he will give you beauty in your ashes. Never doubt him. He will always come through for you. Always. And that's my encouragement today. God is with you. Y'all have a good day.